Those of you who may see some of my posts on X may have wondered why recently I started posting every day one section from the papal encyclical of Pope St. John Paul II, published originally in 1993, so 31 years ago. Why I've decided to do that, posting one section every day. It's 120 sections, so it will take a while. But I guess two primary reasons. One thing, Veritatis Splendor, what does that mean? The splendor of truth is really a beautiful document, reminds us of the wonderful gift we have in our Catholic faith, in the 2,000 years of tradition, of really helping us know what life is, know who we are, who God is, what truth is, all of these blessings, this treasure, this pearl of great price. Certainly, Veritatis Splendor, this document, this encyclical, doesn't talk about everything in the Catholic faith, but it talks about central truths about creation, about our world, about God, about who we are, basic foundational truths that frankly are under threat. I think we just have to open our eyes to that, certainly by the secular society, but also within the church. So the beauty of the truth there, that's what I would encourage us all to focus on. God is beauty, truth, and goodness. He is the very essence of all of those beautiful values of being alive, of seeing reality that we're blessed to know, especially of those of us who receive the revelation that culminates with Jesus Christ, truth incarnate, telling us of the beauty of God's plan, the beauty of all of this. Certainly, we can always point to the evil and the destructive forces and all of that through history, through the whole history of creation. But ultimately, we can go all the way back to the book of Genesis and be reminded what is repeated over and over again. Each day of creation, God saw that it was good. God brings goodness into existence because He is goodness. He is truth. He is love. He is all of these virtues that we seek, all of the goodness and beauty that we long for is God in mysterious ways that we don't fully fathom, but we're blessed to get those glimpses. And that's really what Veritatis Splendor in beautiful words reminds us of, these anchored truths that are unchanging. They're objective reality that doesn't change with the way the wind's blowing in a given moment in history, in a given society, with given attitudes of certain people of a certain generation. I think Veritatis Splendor, hopefully, if we can read through it together, I'm sure that most of us may miss a day or two, but when you have the opportunity, I'd encourage you to read these sections. We're also hoping to make it available. I work with Terry Barber at Virgin Most Powerful Radio. Years ago when it came out, typical of Terry, he had it recorded, an audio recording of Veritatis Splendor. And so he's hoping to make that available. But I'd encourage all of us to go back 30 years to those foundational truths that Pope St. John Paul II pointed to and said, let us hold these treasures. Let us be rooted in this truth. Because as we've all seen, that quote from John Paul II, before he was John Paul II, before he was elected Pope back in 1976, during the celebration of the 200th anniversary of this nation, Pope St. John Paul II, Karol Wojtyła, cardinal at that time, visited the United States, and he prophetically said, we are in a time like no other in history, where these truths will be under attack. So what a beautiful unfolding of God's plan, that this man who had that prophetic prediction, like we've seen similar from Pope Benedict from even earlier, John Paul II saw what was coming because he saw a society moving away from the truth of who God is, of who we are, of what creation is, of who is the author of existence. And when we move away from that, it's not just a philosophical discussion, it gravely affects the day-to-day lives that we lead and life on our planet. So John Paul II, I truly believe, was prophetic and was guided by the Holy Spirit. Here he has these concerns before he's elected Pope. He's a cardinal of the Church. And then he is chosen to be the Holy Father, to sit in the chair of Peter. And he did so beautifully. Veritatis Splendor is one example of his writings. Sometimes he was a very intelligent scholar. Sometimes his writings are not that easy to read, but they're worth engaging in and mining for the truth that he expresses in beautiful words. Veritatis Splendor really is just one example, but I think it's a very significant example of the truths that we have to hold on to. Hopefully it will inspire you to, through footnotes there in Veritatis Splendor or other means, to read more of Pope St. John Paul's writings, or read more of some of the great treasures of encyclicals and truth that's been proclaimed by popes through the ages. I think of Leo XIII and Pius X and so many others. Benedict XVI wrote beautiful encyclicals and guided us significantly. So it's important to know the truth. As I've said many times, in this time, let us not leave this treasure of our Catholic faith. Too many are, but let us hold tight. But let us also continue to learn and deepen our roots and nourish them in this wondrous truth, so that no one and no power can pull us away from Christ and His church, from the Petrine office, from the church as she exists in the world. Because we have to acknowledge that she is under threat at this time. But Veritatis Splendor, I think, is a great anchor document that can remind us these truths are solid. They are foundational. They connect us to Jesus Christ, the cornerstone. And all of that can really strengthen us, can help us live our daily lives with all the confusions and all the concerns about our nation, our world, and our church. So that is my explanation for why am I posting these sections of Veritatis Splendor for the next many days. I encourage us all to read them as much as we can and to be aware that there are answers. There is truth that's been revealed to us. It's a joyful, glorious truth that we need to hold as the greatest treasure we have. God bless you.